Detective Kofi Owusu sat in his dimly lit office in the heart of Accra, the faint hum of the city outside barely audible over the rhythmic drumming of the rain against his window. A chipped glass of palm wine sat on his desk beside a heap of untouched case files. The air smelled of stale smoke and old wood, a fitting backdrop for a man tangled in moral decay. Kofi had once been a symbol of justice, a rising star in Ghana's criminal investigations department. His knack for solving complex cases earned him respect and admiration. But the city, with its simmering inequality and ceaseless whispers of corruption, had a way of wearing even the strongest men down. It started small, a bribe here, a favor there. Before long, the line between his duty and his desires blurred into obscurity. Tonight, Kofi was dealing with the case of Kweku Mensah, a notorious narcotics kingpin who operated with impunity across West Africa. On the surface, Kofi was leading the investigation. Behind closed doors, he was brokering a deal with Kweku. A stack of creased cedis and immunity for the kingpin would ensure Kofi's silence. It wasn't just about greed. Kofi had debts, family obligations, and a nagging sense of survival in a system designed to exploit the honest. The folder on his desk was thick with incriminating evidence, photographs, intercepted messages, and the names of informants brave enough to speak out. It was everything needed to bring Kweku down, but Kofi had already decided to burn it. Or so he thought. A sharp knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. It wasn't the hesitant knock of someone seeking permission, but the firm, deliberate knock of someone who knew their way around power. "Come in," Kofi called, his voice steady despite the unease calling in his gut. The door creaked open to reveal a young woman, her locks pulled back and her Kent-print scarf damp from the rain. Her piercing eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail before settling on him. "Detective Owusu," she said, stepping forward and shutting the door behind her. "Who's asking?" Kofi replied, leaning back in his chair, the cigarette between his fingers trembling slightly. "Afia Danso." "I'm a journalist," she said, her voice firm but measured. Kofi's shoulders tensed. Journalists were a menace, always poking their noses where they didn't belong. "I'm not in the mood for interviews," he said, taking a drag from his cigarette. Afia smiled faintly. "Good, because I'm not here for one. I'm here to warn you." Her words hung in the air like a noose. "Warn me?" Kofi repeated, his voice laced with skepticism. Afia reached into her bag and pulled out a small recording device. She pressed play, and Kweku's voice filled the room, gravelly and venomous. "Kofi's been useful, but he's a problem now. Get rid of him before he gets any ideas." Kofi's heart pounded in his chest. He snatched the recorder from Afia and replayed the message, his mind racing. "Where did you get this?" he demanded, his tone sharper than intended. "I have my sources," Afia said, crossing her arms. "Kweku doesn't trust anyone, not even you. He's cleaning house, and you're next." Kofi stared at her, the weight of her words sinking in. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked, his voice softer now. Afia's gaze hardened. "Because Kweku killed my brother," she said, her voice trembling with controlled anger. "I've been tracking him for years, gathering evidence. I know you've been working both sides, but I also know you're not beyond redemption." Kofi let out a bitter laugh. "Redemption? Madam, I sold my soul a long time ago." "Then buy it back," Afia snapped. "Help me bring him down." Kofi leaned back, the cigarette smoldering in his fingers. He thought about the money, the debts, the risks. But he also thought about the faces of Kweku's victims, the families torn apart, the lives ruined. Finally, he stopped out the cigarette and grabbed the folder from his desk. "If we do this, we do it my way," he said. Afia nodded. "Just remember, if you betray me, I'll make sure the world knows who you really are." A faint smile tugged at Kofi's lips. "Fair enough. The two stepped out into the rain-drenched streets, their shadows stretching long under the flickering streetlights. For the first time in years, Kofi felt something stir within him, a flicker of purpose, perhaps even hope. The night ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger. But as they disappeared into the maze of the city, Kofi Owusu knew one thing: he couldn't change the past, but maybe, just maybe, he could reclaim the future. Please like and subscribe to my channel to encourage me make better stories.